What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rangers Talk. And today we got a lot to talk about because something may have happened. If you guys weren't aware, if you were busy living under a rock, if you're too busy preparing for the Super Bowl, like I am, because don't get me wrong, I'm pumped for the Super Bowl just as much as the next guy, considering my team's playing in it. But there was a trade that happened, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it because we're first going to talk about some of the games that we did not get to cover because we haven't done this since before the All-Star break, right? So,
Yeah, the game's at All-Star break.
yeah, so we got a couple things to talk about before we talk about the big news, the giant elephant in the room that I'm sure all of you want us to address right away, but we'll slowly work our way to it. So, we got a lot to talk about. Michael is here. Football sucks. It should be all Rangers. Hey, listen, I know, but the Philadelphia Eagles are in the Super Bowl, and I'm pumped up. So I'm fired up for tomorrow. I got my mind on the Rangers tonight and the Eagles tomorrow, and it's just not a great feeling right now. Feeling like tonight the Rangers are definitely going to be in a tough battle, which we'll talk later about. But I'm feeling confident about the Eagles, so I'm in a mixed state right now. So. We'll talk further about we won't talk football too much. We'll talk hockey now. Let's talk about the Rangers and the Flames game that happened and fight night at the Garden. That was a fun one. They absolutely whooped the Flames' ass despite what the final score said. I thought they played a great game. I thought that they dominated pretty much the entire way through. There were a couple moments here and there where they definitely let the Flames get too comfortable. And it was a closer game than it should have been, thanks to Jarl Halak not necessarily playing the greatest. And the defense also definitely had a couple lapses here and there. But for the most part, I thought they played pretty good that game. And you also had Jacob Trouba throw a stupid amount of hits. He threw 2 hits. Sammy Blais ended up throwing a hit in this one as well. And there was a couple fights. You had Trouba fight Dubé first, and then you had Blais and Lucic going at it a bit, but Coley ended up fighting someone there, and then you had Trouba hit Kadri, and then Dubé ended up fighting Trouba, so there was a lot that went down in that one.
Oh, yeah, this game was electric coming right out of the break. I'm very upset I wasn't in the building for this one. I know you were. Tickets were a good price, and I'm so mad because this is up there for one of the games of the year. It had it all. But as you said, the Rangers played a great game. Philip Hedl just continuing what he was doing before the break, scoring the first 2 in this one. Jacob Trouba, obviously, as you mentioned, throwing hits left and right, and starting to grow on me a little bit. It's crazy to say it, but it's happening. So,
yeah, that was definitely his moment for me where I'm like, wait a second, maybe. And then I see him warming up the other night against Vancouver with role no models playing. And I'm like, hold up, Jacob Trouba.
That's a W.
Hold up, Jacob Trouba. And yeah, that was absolutely fired up. And then Nazem Kadri, too, coming out saying it was a clean hit as well. W for that. And yeah, Phil Hedl continues to stay hot. And what a game for him. What a game for Phil Hedl. And
Mika Zibanejad getting a couple. And then Lafreniere, obviously, in overtime, which he really needed. So very happy to see that. Zibanejad also getting the assist there. So he had himself a great night as well. But Yara was definitely a little shaky.
Yeah, Yara was definitely shaky. I think it was the first goal that was really soft that he ended up letting up. That was a weird play. And then Adam Fox was like out of position on that one. That was just a weird goal. I don't really remember the rest, to be honest. I'm trying to think. I think there was one that he could have had that was like a slapper from the point.
I mean, one was the Mangiapane kicking.
Oh, well, yeah, that you had that garbage too.
Yeah.
I forgot completely about that one. I don't know how I did, but yeah, could we find out what is a distinct kicking motion? Because I don't know what it is. Does anybody have the answer?
I don't have the answer, I'll tell you that. Maybe someone in the chat, but yeah, it's if that's not a kick, if that's not considered just kicking blatantly the puck in the net, then I just don't know.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous that the NHL has no clear-cut rules of, oh, this is what a kicking motion is. This is what goalie interference is. Just none of that at all. And it's just infuriating. I think it depends how much the refs have on the game. Could be that, but I don't know. It's just infuriating though that night in, night out. And then we saw some garbage last night happen too, which we'll talk about, but it's just like I don't understand what's going on with the officiating. It's hard to even defend any of the officiating as of lately. Because obviously it's a hard job, but come on. But come on with some of this. It's just ridiculous how that's not a kicking motion. Seriously. I don't understand it. But yeah, Lafreniere ends up winning in overtime. Definitely a little bit of a confidence booster for him, which is nice to see, even though it was a weird goal for him to get. Still good for him to get on the scoring sheet once again. So yeah, and he ended up carrying it over in the next game, which we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, I think it was the stone goal that Yarhola could have had as well. And then Toffoli's power play goal. I think that was I think they got that power play from a bad call, if I'm not mistaken, too. That Toffoli power play goal. I could be wrong, but
yeah. Do you remember who took the penalty?
I could check quickly. Maybe I can check. I don't know. Let's see if I can. No, I don't think I can. So that's just great.
Yeah. Seems like a long time ago now, but it was only 4 days ago.
Yeah. I'll try to keep looking, but yeah. That was one. You probably can't blame Jarl Halak on that one either. But again, oh wait, was this the? Yeah, it was Ben Harper that took that tripping penalty. So never mind. It's not like it was a egregious call. So yeah, and then Harper, he's out of the lineup now, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the talk about with the Rangers Flames game. Definitely up there for game of the year for the Rangers. Definitely one of their better games of the season. So we'll move on to a game that was the complete opposite and was an absolute snooze fest in the game against the Vancouver Canucks. In this game, I felt like I could have fell asleep at the Garden there. I really did. It was very, very boring, and it was a lot of very just weird goals as well. I wasn't really impressed with any of the Rangers' goals for the most part, except for maybe the Filipino goal and the Zibanejad goal, but the other two were just tapping goals pretty much. Actually, no, the Kreider one was good. I remember that one. That was a good goal. That rush play with
Vinny Trocheck.
Yeah. The Laffy goal, though, was a tap-in.
Yeah, true, but put it on net, and he got the last bit of it there when it was rolling in. So that was another greasy little goal there. But as you said, the Filipino goal is nice. Stays hot. And I mean, yeah, this was definitely a boring one. I mean, it's 4-3. You'd figure, it's a back and forth, but wasn't really one to write about here. And the Rangers, I mean, they look shaky in this one, no doubt. But hey, they got the 2 points in the end. I think Igor probably could have had a couple of these goals.
Yeah, which we're going to talk more about Igor later. That is for sure. Because he's definitely been a bit shaky lately. And I know the defense hasn't been the best necessarily at times in front of him, but there's definitely a cause for concern there. But yeah, this was a very boring game. And not only was it boring, it was also sloppy on both sides. I thought both teams played very sloppy. The Rangers turned the puck over way too much in this game, and it allowed Vancouver to get way too comfortable in this game. They got more opportunities than they should have. If the Rangers just limited those turnovers, it could have been a different game. But unfortunately, that's not the way that one went. So,
yeah, I mean, the Pettersson goal there, I mean, I don't know what you thought of it. If you thought it should have been an icing. Personally, I think no. But it was just a weird goal. He just put a stick on it, went right through Igor. And I mean, that was like 11 seconds after Mika scored. So it was time to get nervous as a Ranger fan, of course. They can't make it easy on us. But they got the job done at least.
Yeah, and then you had Filipino get the empty net goal as well in this one.
Oh, yeah. Didn't award him. I'm not too mad at that though. Don't keep racking up these stats here to make that payday even more hefty.
Fair enough with that point. That's a great point actually, because there's so much with this offseason that I'm not excited about. I'm really not excited for this offseason. This is gonna
uh,
be hell.
it's gonna be horrible. It's not gonna be making any sort of moves. Just gonna be sweating to bring all these guys back on good team friendly deals and just bringing some depth pieces because this team is locked up for the most part into this core.
Yeah.
This is going to be a miserable one, but it's still distances away. We won't worry about it too much yet. But you can't help but not think about it sometimes.
Well, unfortunately, we do have to think about it because the Rangers made a trade. And
Yes.
what was the trade after this game? The Rangers acquire Vladimir Tarasenko and Nico Mikkola for a first-round pick, and the star there is because it's conditional. Fourth-round pick, which was also conditional. Sammy Blais and Hunter Skinner. And I had a feeling this trade was going down when Drury was up in the press box on his phones often. So you had a feeling something was going on. Sammy Blais leaves the building late. It was definitely, you smelt something going on. There was something going on that was weird. And sure enough, the Rangers go out and make a big splash here as they acquire Tarasenko and Mikkola. And we'll talk about how they played in their debuts respectively, but I'm very happy with this trade still. I can't stop being happy. And after last night too, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
Oh my goodness. We made sure to jump on here and talk about it first thing. I'm assuming a couple of people in the chat got to watch that, our pure reactions of it. And I mean, what a masterclass by Chris Drury. Simple as that. You got Vladimir Tarasenko, not only Tarasenko, but Nico Mikkola, and you didn't give up much. The first round pick, I guess, is nice in a deep draft, but the Rangers still have another first. Who knows if they're going to trade at this deadline? I doubt it now because they already got their big fish. So they're still going to have a first round pick here, and fourth round pick is whatever. Sammy Blais, I mean, you get that contract off your hands, which you send him back to St. Louis. And then Hunter Skinner, who's like a C-level prospect. So there's just nothing to be mad about here if you're a New York Ranger fan. This is an over the moon trade. Tarasenko with Zibanejad and Panarin is such an elite line, and I couldn't be more happy about this deal.
Oh, that line is just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
No more VC and Goodrow, man. It's the best.
It's great. It's so great. And Patrick Kane, your boy, was not thrilled about this one. He was not thrilled at all.
To come here.
He wanted to come here, which is just interesting. It's interesting that he wanted to come here. Hey, if you want to come here in the offseason and take a discount,
hey, you want to play for like $4 million?
I'd be very okay with that happening, as Nick will be here now too. But yeah, I'd be okay if you wanted to sign here in the offseason on a nice cheap deal. I wouldn't be offended with that at all. Even though I've been against the trade, you guys know that. I think that if they could sign him in the offseason, because they're going to need guys to take team-friendly deals. So if they're going to have somebody and he wanted to come here badly, I would not say no to that at all. But yeah, the trade, very good trade for the Rangers. They fleece St. Louis, in my opinion, and also the conditions on the pick. If you guys didn't hear what the conditions were, the first round pick is the later of the 2 first round picks that they have, because they of course got one from the Niels Lundqvist deal, and the 4th round pick becomes a 3rd round pick if the Rangers end up making the playoffs, which they're going to. So I don't know why that's a condition, but
yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a 1st and a 3rd with Blais and Skinner. And Skinner, I don't even know if I'd call him a C-level prospect. I'd call him lower than that. I mean, he's in the ECHL right now.
Yeah.
So now we have the question: can the Rangers extend Tarasenko?
Could they? Yeah.
I did a little math here. So this is what would need to happen for the Rangers to extend Tarasenko this offseason. So the first step is obviously trading Barclay Goodrow. Second step, you have to call up Offman and Coley to fill out 2 of your roster spots. For the RFAs that you have to sign, Miller and Heedle would both have to sign at $4.5 million. Lafreniere at $2 million. And then Louis Domingue gets called up as the backup goalie. And then Tarasenko would have to sign at $5 million. And you would be running with a 21-man roster. So you'd only have one scratch as well if they were to keep Tarasenko and if he's willing to take a $5 million deal. So can they? Yes. Will they?
I don't know. I'm still leaning they're not going to re-sign him. But like as you said, they need Heedle and Miller to sign for 4.5.
Yeah.
I think they'll be team friendly. I do. I think they'll take slight discounts to help the team out overall. But yeah, if we could send to the 10 mil mark with both Heedle and Miller, that's a W. And Tarasenko, if he loves it here, I mean, take a discount as well. So it's possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. So sadly.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's unfortunate because they really need a guy like him in the top 9 or in the top 6, I should say, going forward, because we saw what happened with VC and Goudreau being in the top 6. It's just not it. It just isn't at all. And then you have Tarasenko scoring his Rangers debut. It was sexy. It was sexy. And that entire line was just fun to watch. They need to find a way to keep him. I don't know how they're going to do it. And it stings the Vinny Trocheck contract now. It really stings.
They need to do it. That's the part that stings because he's ready for the number 2 center role. But they didn't feel he was, and they signed Vinny Trocheck, and now we're in a pickle because the no movement clauses, man, all over this team is just so costly.
Yeah, that's what's really infuriating is all these no movement clauses, even the Jarl Halak giving him one. Granted, it's only for the year, but still, like, I don't know why they gave out all of these no movement clauses at all, but if they, I don't know if they could move any of them. I really don't know. I think the only reason I think that there's a hope with Tarasenko being re-signed is because think of this. Drury was prepared to give up the kitchen sink for Timo Meier. If he had a plan to extend Timo Meier, he certainly has a plan to extend Tarasenko. Tarasenko is going to be way cheaper than Timo Meier would have been. Way cheaper.
That is true. Because if you're going to give everything up for Timo Meier, I'm sure he had a plan to extend him, which I hope at least he would. So I mean, yeah, he would be a lot cheaper. So that's a good point you make.
Yeah, and you have to keep him. You have to. I don't think that you could go forward without him, and I don't know. I really don't know because you don't have enough cap casualties on this team. If they were just able to move Trocheck, it would make life so much easier. And then they could get a real third line center instead on a cheaper price. It would have been nice, but yeah, looks like we're going to be trotting out Jake Lecision next year though too, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, very, very much so.
McDonough trade shows a deal could be made. If you mean the one from Tampa, then that's true if you mean waiving no movement clauses. But the problem is Trocheck, I don't think he's waiving his no move clause after 1 year here. Your next cap casualty.
Maybe
that's I was going to say Kreider's probably your next. I don't think he's waiving. I don't see any of them waiving at all.
Mm-hmm.
Truba's the captain. He's not waiving. Zibanejad, you're not moving him. You're dumb if you do. Panarin, you're not moving. So
you can't do it.
The only other cap casualty is Ryan Lindgren, and I don't think you could do that.
No, he only comes in at $3 million too, and for that price, he's so impactful for the Rangers. So that would definitely be a dumb decision to move.
If Zach Jones made an impact, that would have made life so much easier because then you could just move Keandre Miller to that top pair with Fox, and then you put Jones with Truba, and then Harper could stay on that third pair. But unfortunately, Jones just couldn't make that impact at all. So unless they're going to trust Jones next year, which that's the only other way really that they could do this. If if they were able to do that or bring in another cheap left-handed defenseman, which I think is impossible, but that's the only other way I think you could comfortably extend Tarasenko. Yeah,
Yeah,
Lindgren's most likely the next casualty. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, which sucks, but I mean, that's what happens when you give out all these no movement clauses because you screwed yourself.
absolutely.
Next, let's talk about the game against the Kraken last night. So, how are we feeling about that game? Who wants to start?
Nick?
It started out well. I say offensively and defensively, and I think the offense pretty much for most of the game was good, but the defense noticeably became weaker. Specifically in the D zone coverage throughout the game. We just got to keep the consistent play going through it by playing a full 60, and we just couldn't do that. We let the Kraken walk back into the game, and it just can't happen. But I thought the offense was definitely an improvement, and just got to keep getting better defensively. Simple as that. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent game.
Nico.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously, Tarasenko getting the goal early, he just gave the offense such a boost and really made this team deeper in the forward category. I love now fourth line of VZ, Gaudreau, Gauthier. It's just so much better. I thought the first period was really good, but as Nick said, as it went on, the defense they get a little shaky. Igor let in a couple softies for sure. But I mean, they had the game pretty much the whole way. Another fantastic power play goal by Zibanejad. Trouba even getting one. Second unit actually now too. Looks like they're more serviceable to go out there and provide a goal. So that's another great thing for the Rangers. And Ryan Lindgren also getting his first goal with empty netter. So that's good for him.
Yeah, that was. Could somebody, by the way, confirm this? By the way, somebody look on Twitter and confirm this while I talk. Yeah. So, yeah, and this was another thing. The officiating was not great last night at all. The officiating was garbage. The deflection out of play on Mikkola, that delay game penalty shouldn't have happened. They made up a tripping penalty on Adam Fox at the end of the game. So there was a couple of just garbage calls. But besides that, I thought that they definitely, like Nick said, they could have been better defensively for sure. They definitely took their foot off the gas after the first period. The first period was great. Second period started to look a little more sloppy, but still looked good. And then the third period, they just were a mess. I thought the third period was one of the worst periods that they played, but they still end up getting the win in it. So the 2 points, nice. And the Seattle Kraken are definitely a good team, just with bad goaltending. So it was a huge test, and the offense definitely took the task well of scoring 6 goals against the Kraken, one being an empty netter, of course. But the offense definitely stepped up big for them. But the defensive side of the game definitely needs to show some improvements, that's for sure. So, yeah, and Gallant said that he didn't do enough and wants a different mix. Where'd you see that? Who tweeted that Kravtsov's a scratch? Just want to check that.
I don't see it anywhere on Twitter actually.
Yeah,
Interesting. All right, so we'll wait and see if that's confirmed. But I also want to see confirmed if Jarl Halak's in net or if Igor. I think Igor needs to start.
Yeah, this is a big division rival here. I mean, you're still in striking distance of Carolina. Technically, I doubt they're going to catch them, but I mean, you got to try out your best goalie here for a big division game. Show you can compete with the big dogs. I mean, I know they beat Carolina earlier, but I want to see them go on the road and really make a statement here. So throw your best goalie in that.
I'm blocked, so somebody's gonna have to confirm this for me.
I'll take a look.
But yeah, definitely agree with that. And
oh yeah, Kravtsov scratch versus Kane's Pergolan won a different mix, and he didn't do enough combination. Wow. Oh,
Kravtsov's being traded.
man.
That's a fact.
just trade the guy already. I'm so sick of this. I'm so sick of this.
He's showing off. Dude only played one game. And, oh my god.
This man just hates Kravtsov.
What does he need to do?
So
I don't understand.
I think
what's
Gallant
gonna happen now?
like Nico said. No, I don't think. I think he just has to go. I don't think it's Kravtsov's fault. I think it's just Gallant not wanting to play him.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Because like he hasn't shown enough. All right, so has Ben Harper?
What is Jake Lecision shown?
Jake Lecision, yeah. Like,
oh my god! Now we're gonna see VZ on the second line again.
he obviously has his favorites, and he needs to go, Kravtsov. So for his best interest,
they might as well just trade the guy for a pick, and at this point, run with a short man roster, so you could gather more cap space by the deadline, and you could bring in another top 9 forward.
Van Riemsdyk. I always say his name wrong. James Van Riemsdyk.
I don't know if they're going to be able to get him.
How much? What's the salary?
It's $7 million. If a third team gets involved, maybe. Well, there is that still weird thing that if a third team gets involved, the Rangers could technically get Kane if they made a roster move.
If Kane solely just tells the Blackhawks, I want to go to the Rangers, I think it could work. Because then obviously you give up like Kravtsov and a pick.
The problem is, what's the cost going to be? Because if you get a third team involved, that's when it gets a little more pricey.
I would say like a third if they eat another 25%. I mean, Coyotes are always down to take picks and need salary. So if they take like a third, but I don't know if you think it'd be more than that.
I think it would be another second.
We don't have many second. I don't think we have a second for the next few years, right? Or do we have one this year?
I could check that one, but they have 2 seconds in a row. They have a second this year and a second next year.
I mean, you could dangle around with them. I mean, that'd be a super all-in move if you also got Patrick Kane. So, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, or if they could just get someone like Domi, that would be nice. But I think Domi wants to stay in Chicago, which...
Well, it's what everyone wanted to stay there.
Yeah, I find it odd that you'd rather stay there than win a cup, especially if you're a guy like Domi who doesn't have one, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't understand that one, but yeah, he's probably going to want to stay. I don't know who another top 9 forward is that's affordable for them to get at the deadline. That's the issue. I mean, Tanner Jeannot.
For the playoffs, Gustav Nyquist.
That could be a good name. The Rangers are going to have to get creative and get a third team involved, I think, no matter what they want to do to get another top 9 forward in this at the deadline this year. Because I think they really do want to get another top 9 forward, because you can't trot Jimmy Vesey or Barclay Goodrow out there again.
No.
In the top 6. You just can't.
You can't do it at all. They were where they belong last night in that fourth line, and it worked.
Yeah, and now we're sitting Kravtsov for what?
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So stupid. It is just so ridiculous. Trying to think of other names. Anthony Duclair, reunion with him. That'd be a nice one. And he's on a very affordable deal. He's only making $3 million.
I think he's had some injury problems, though. That's the thing.
What'd you say?
I think he's had some injury problems. That's the thing.
Yeah, but he's ready to come back. It's just the problem is the Panthers don't have the cap space to activate him off injury reserve. That's the issue there.
Yeah. No,
And I
there'll be
agree.
some names.
Kravtsov had a good game until Gallant decided to bench him, but what
Gallant's
do
an
we know?
idiot. I hate him. Like I actually do for that reason, or part of the reason why I hate him.
I agree with this. Igor needs to play like Igor. Too many soft goals. I agree. He has been shaky lately, and that's the only reason I'm not super against Halak being in net is because Igor's been a bit shaky lately.
Well, it's also back to back, so you're gonna put Halak anyways. But I don't think Igor has been like that bad. I think it's just fans had like this expectation for him, and then it's just too hard to maintain like sustain that kind of level of play. Like what he's doing right now is like it's pretty solid. I feel like gotta be appreciative that he's not like any worse, but what he did last year, it's hard to duplicate that kind of performance.
My only problem is the guy across the waters doing it. At least Sorokin's doing it.
So well, that's good for him. I don't think his save. What's the save percentage?
920 something.
I think it's like a low 920, which is not what Igor was better last year than that. 923. Igor was what last year?
Damn, that plummeted. Because his was at like a 930 something not too long ago. I thought it dropped only to like 929 or 928.
No, it's 923.
Damn, his save percentage plummeted.
We need Igor. Kick it into another gear, at least come playoff time. I mean, I'd like him to do it before then, but
Igor's a 916. Yeah, I mean, definitely you would like to see him at least a 920, but it's 916 isn't like terrible either. That, like you said, for his standards, yeah, it could be an off year, but right now, as it is, he's not terrible. It's 916. We'll take it. Could be a lot worse. Could be a 900. You know what I mean? Straight up. But
that's true.
It is what it is. But hopefully, hits a stride and becomes the old version from last year. So we'll see.
Yeah, they're gonna need that come playoff time, especially.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
I know you guys don't want to see this, but as a rival, Panarin's match, I think you met Tarasenko in there, versus Meyer, Hughes, Palat would be an incredible sight to see. Not necessarily for us Ranger fans, but Andre Palat, that guy kills us. Ugh.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. If they get Meyer, we could be in some trouble.
Who is our tough guy? Get Reeves back. Our captain should be our tough guy.
The enforcer days are over.
Sorry, I'm sorry that I missed your question there, Justin. Do you think Gallant is fired if we don't win the cup this year?
No, I don't.
Nope.
No.
I think if we don't make it to like maybe the conference final at least,
I don't think it's
or
fired
depending
as
on
well.
what happens in round 2, or even if we get bounced in round 1, I think he's on the hot seat if we don't meet pretty much what we did last year. But I mean, actually, no, maybe though. Yeah, if we don't meet what we did last year, I'd say he's on the hot seat, especially if we get bounced in round 1.
Yeah, I think if we got early back-to-back years, potentially.
But the sooner he leaves, the better off we'll be. Because honestly, I personally don't think he's the guy that will bring home the cup. That's just me, though.
If we get swept in the first round, yeah, then there's a chance.
Oh, then forget about him even starting next season. He could honestly just be fired in the offseason if you get swept in round 1.
Yeah, I think that.
Oh, forget it.
I think that's the way he gets fired if there's any way, as if we get swept in round 1.
In the offseason, at least. Yeah.
I'm still trying to think if this team is good enough to beat Carolina. Tonight will obviously help me tell the story there, but I
I'll give
really
them
don't
a
know.
little benefit of the doubt because you're coming off a back-to-back, but I still expect a valiant effort at least to make this a battle.
Yeah. That sucks too, that it's a back-to-back. It's just so annoying. With the recent lack of development of both Laugh and Kaka, do you guys still like Gallant? I find Laugh's lack of power play time is concerning, even if the kid line is killing it. I mean, do we still like Gallant? I don't know. I don't think there's any one of us that really like him to begin with, to be fair. But when it comes to the power play time, yeah, definitely a problem, and it's been a problem since day one. But I think that now that Tarasenko's here to balance out power play 2, you'll start to see power play 2 get tried out there more, as long as he's on power play 2, because we saw him get a look with power play 1 at the end of the game. But yeah, I think that it is a problem. And the kid line, yeah, they're definitely doing good, but again, just would like to see them get more ice time at the same time. And Gallant's just not accommodating that for whatever reason.
Yeah, they should be the second line. Getting more minutes out of the Kreider, Trocheck, and whoever the winger is on that line with them.
And it's probably going to be Jimmy Vesey tonight.
Oh, boy. Oh, good draw. Who knows?
My favorite hockey team is going to be trotting out Jake Lecision in the playoffs. I'm sick.
No. if Jake Lecision sees playoff action, forget it. This team's cooked.
Going back to your point about Evan, going back to your point about if this team is good enough to beat Carolina, yeah, we're on a back-to-back, but how about earlier on? I forgot when we faced them. I think it was the first home game of 23. I know we didn't have Tarasenko, but you saw how they pretty much outplayed us the whole entire game, but somehow we still came out with the victory. I mean, we know why, but yeah. So I don't know if Tarasenko definitely helped that, but you saw the way they kind of outworked us. You know how they just were in control of the whole game, and as of right, I mean, look, we'll see about tonight. It is a back-to-back, but I don't know. I feel like more moves have to be made to really have the confidence, that, for me at least, to beat Carolina.
Yeah, and the problem is the cap not allowing those moves to happen. That's the thing that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know like who's cheap that they could get. I really don't know. It's annoying because they really need that. They need that Vetrano type that they had last year. They really need that.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely probably seeing another move in the forward group. I mean, Kratzov's gone. I mean, yeah, the fact that he retained 50% of Tarasenko's salary obviously means he wants to have at least a little bit to go to make another move here. So, I mean, it's probably going to be some middle six guy. We'll see.
Unless they are going to bring Offman over after his OHL season ends.
That's possible.
I don't know if they're going to put their full confidence in him, because to throw him to the Wolves like that is definitely going to be tough. But
risky.
What other options do you have if you don't get a middle six winger at the deadline?
Yeah, I agree.
I think the Carolina series all goes back to Shesterkin. Keandre's development has been spectacular, and Fox is the best D-man in the NHL, but still a bit weak. I think it's on Chesty. I think overall the team defense needs to be better in front of Shesterkin as well. I think that we've addressed it multiple times on the show, and we'll continue to address it until it's fixed. Which, when will it? I don't even know. It's already February, so that's the frustrating part. But yeah, the team defense just needs to improve, and it's been this way. So until then, I don't know. And then Igor, yeah, he does have to take into another gear, but at the same time, the defense needs to step it up as well, just as much.
Mm-hmm. How about that third D pairing of Schneider and Mikola? I don't know. They scare me, to be honest. Miller and Trouba obviously get a little shaky at times. So I don't know.
It's not even the deep pairs that scare me. It's more just the overall team defense play, like forwards not getting involved on defense as well, and just the D zone coverage.
What were we watching? Yeah, I forgot what game it was, but we had like, well, it was against Vancouver. We noticed that they were cheating the game. The forwards, 3 guys high on the control breakouts, not supporting the puck carrier, going up the neutral zone, going up the ice, Remember that, Evan?
Yeah.
Talk about that. Yeah, like little things like that. Like everyone's got to play defense some sort of way. Like, I mean, it just can't happen. Winning teams don't cheat the game. They grind it out.
Yeah, you can't do it. And it happens way too much on Wednesday night. And it even happened a bit last night at times too. Just play Goche, go not spend too much time. Yeah, I mean, if you mean in the top 6, yeah. But yeah, he does devalue his players. We need this game tonight. Yep. Yeah, it's a huge game. It's a huge test. Let's be honest here. A series like last year versus Pittsburgh just can't happen again. Shesty was the reason this year's playoffs is going to be fascinating in terms of team system. If you mean they got bailed out by Shesty against Pittsburgh,
I don't know about that. There were a lot of things that happened with Pittsburgh that kind of benefit us. But Shesty needs to, definitely be there if we play Jersey this year. But we can't come out in a slow start against a fast team like Jersey. They will just be all over us. But hey, for Jersey's sake, maybe they're not going to play like that right away because, lack of experience. But, I don't know. We'll see because they do have guys like Palat on the team and, John Marino. I'm pretty sure he's got a few playoff games under his belt too. So we'll see though. They just got to come out hot right away.
And this is the issue.
The series. Yeah, I know we don't have a system. Yeah, I know.
No identity.
Oh, I know.
Unfortunately, we know too well. They don't have a system at all. And
Alonso pretty much hinted that already. He just, he brings it up in his like press conferences. He always brings up and says like, yeah, I just let the kids go out and play. Just play their game, do whatever they want. Do whatever they want. Like no, like you need to, they have to be in specific, places at certain times. So you can't just you want to have them play freely, but freely to a certain extent. Like you don't want them just running around, like you say, Evan, like a bunch of headless chickens. Like there's got to be some direction, when you go into each and every game, or some sort of game plan, like I always say, especially specifically what team we play against. If it's a defensive minded team, then you gotta have a game plan for that. Or if the team is going to press offensively, chip pucks in deep behind the defense, So, well, I don't know, but Golan's just got to figure it out.
We play pickup hockey system.
Pretty much, honestly, we do. They just
it's more like it's more like little league system. Like, yay, go out there and play everybody.
And that too.
Go try your best.
Hockey. Yeah, literally pick up hockey. Yeah, pretty much the same thing.
True.
I mean, like Pittsburgh was pretty dominant most of the game, 5v5, but the Rangers power play was excellent.
I mean, that was a reason. Rangers power play definitely helped. If you're referring to that series, yeah, that definitely helped us win the series as well. But yeah, like Pittsburgh pretty much outworked us like 5v5 all night long, all series long. Like, to me, it wasn't really much of a question, that they probably should have won had they been fully healthy. Yeah, they could have, they were up 3-1. They do have, NHL players, on the team, even though they were injured, you expect them to hold that lead. But, 1 or 2 blows there and there could definitely make an impact, especially if it's your heart and soul of the team, like a Sidney Crosby, So, yeah, no, I mean, you just can't happen. You can't let teams just walk all over you like that. You just got to take control of the game right from the start. And if anyone's capable of doing that, in the round one, it's going to be the Devils. You know, they're going to be exactly, they play that kind of game. Well, not exactly like Pittsburgh's game, but they're probably more comparable to Carolina's game. But they're just going to come at you fast. They're going to come at you aggressive, and they're going to try to, rack the scoreboard up as much as possible. So you just got to be ready for that. But you got to have a game plan, something Gallant knows nothing about, clearly, to, counter that attack, So, I mean, we'll see. But, for those reasons, it does make me nervous to play the Devils in round one.
Especially if they add Meyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Meyer. I'm sure he'll feed right into that system under Lindy Ruff. So we'll see.
I feel like experience could be overlooked when looking at Jersey. The speed has been killer in every game versus the Rangers this year. It's a series that goes 6 or 7.
And again, like the Rangers are not capable of holding 2 or 3 goal leads, which is sad. You can't really expect, if they can't do that in the regular season, you're not going to really expect them to do that in the playoffs. And one thing we learned from Jersey this year, they're never out of a game. Honestly, they could be down 4-1. They have the weapons and they have the speed to come back and tie the game up 4-4 late in the game and win it in overtime, especially when I'm pretty sure we were up by 2-0 and 3-1 against Jersey at the Prudential, and we blew the game in overtime, right? So, if you're going to let them walk all over you and not play a full 60, things like that are going to happen, and you just got to be ready for that. But I don't know if they actually are. And series goes to 6 or 7, it can honestly end in 5 for Jersey if they're just gonna walk all over us like that. But we'll see what happens. Depends on who we pick up at the deadline. Depends who they pick up at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Man, to be honest, I don't want to play you guys. Shesterkin and Fox scares me. That power play and sustained pressure in the offensive zone is just terrifying. Yeah, but when they're not pressuring in the offensive zone, it's because they're doing piss poor defensively, and they're turning the puck over a lot, and it's just a lot of sloppy play. And when they're playing that sloppy, I mean, forget about it. New Jersey's going to be all over us with that.
Especially how soft we are in the defensive zone. Like, forget it. Like, Jersey's just going to be thriving off of that and just going to be skating in circles all around our defensive end. It's just going to be like I don't know. It's not going to be a pretty sight. It's going to be a swarm of bees. That's what it'd be like for Jersey. And like I said, they just weren't worried about racking up the scorebook. And I mean, they can play a little bit defensively for sure, but they're just never out of a game, honestly.
And we saw what happened when the Rangers played them in that game that went to overtime.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Hughes and Heisier and Jesper Bratt, those guys are they're just gonna burn Jacob True. I can already see it, man. I can already see it. On a 2-on-1, Jacob True is gonna fall over just because he can't keep up with Hughes and Bratt's speed. And it's gonna be like a video game out there. Unless if we find a way to counter that, it's gonna be an ugly scene for the Rangers, and they're gonna have to make some serious changes. That's for sure.
Yeah, the only thing that they really have going for them defensively is come playoff time, they're going to be hopefully not as soft in the defensive zone just because the refs allow it to not be the case. But that's about it. But Nico, what were you going to say? Sorry, I think I cut you off.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, Jersey, they scare me. They're so just young, talented, have a lot of speed, and to me, people will bring up the experience, but like, I mean, how much playoff experience did the Rangers have last year? And they got to the Eastern Conference Final. I know people could say they should have been done in that Pittsburgh series, but I mean, they still found a way, beat Carolina. I don't know. This is the Devils and the Rangers going to be a tough series. I mean, if you told me 2 weeks ago, I definitely would have been like, yeah, Devils will probably win the series. Now, I mean, the Rangers are kind of reeling me back in here for sure. But
until the Devils get Timo Meyer, right?
Yeah, when they get Timo Meyer,
yeah, and then Palat comes back, or is he already back?
He's back.
Yeah, and then he gets going, and
Hughes.
And then imagine just because they know they may play us in round one, they'll just acquire Alex Killorn from Tampa Bay, another Ranger killer, and then they'll just be all over us. Killorn and Palat will be posting up hat tricks left and right, no problem.
Yeah. Do you think the Rangers will get better at cycling with the addition of Tarasenko if Gallant makes the right line decisions?
I mean,
I mean they should.
from one thing I noticed from last night is, getting a guy like Tarasenko and, a guy that'll shoot the puck. It looked like everyone else was willing to shoot the puck a little bit more as well. Like I said, towards the end of the game, it got a little sloppy. There's no doubt, but specifically in that first period with all the hype, all the energy, knowing Tarasenko's a 30 goal scorer, especially from the past. This year is a little down, but it looked like everyone just was willing to shoot the puck, just to take after his game a little bit. But the question is, can they keep doing that? Obviously, it'd be great if they can, but they just can't fall into their bad habits and just continue to, ride that energy and knowing that you got a guy like Tarasenko, and someone that you could trust that will shoot the puck, but take a page out of his game a little bit as well, which would be huge for everyone else on the team. But it did certainly look like that, especially in the first period. We were cycling the puck really well and offensively, and we were putting a lot of shots on net, and we were creating a decent amount of odd-man rushes the other way, which was, a beautiful sight to see. But again, got to keep doing it. Can't take your foot off the pedal and just play a full 60. If they could just do that, I'll definitely be more confident in this team. Just they don't play a full 60. That's it.
And they can't even play consistently the same way at all. Like, it's just, you don't know what you're getting every night. That's the issue. You don't know what you're getting every night.
No.
By the way, Nico, check Twitter when you can. FYI, Gallant was runner-up for Coach of the Year last year. It's on the players. Get off his back.
I'm gonna have to disagree there because it was the Igor show pretty much all last year. Pretty much had the same issues defensively last year and pretty much this year as well. Hasn't really gotten a lot better. I mean, what do you think, Evan? I don't like what you said. I don't think Gallant has a system. Players definitely need to step up as well. There's no question, but it would certainly help if Gallant actually just had a game plan.
And it's just obvious too, certain lineup decisions are just not the right ones. And ice time is just a huge issue, and it's clear as day. The kid line should be getting way more minutes than they were. Tarasenko got under 14 minutes last night somehow. Ridiculous.
Wow.
The ice time is just all over the place, and systematically, yeah, they're a mess. They're an absolute mess systematically, like Nick was saying, and you don't know what you're getting each and every night from them. You really don't.
Yeah, it's sad. I don't even know. It's really like every hockey team, good hockey team, Hurricanes, Bruins fans, they know, I'm sitting down watching this game and I'm getting this. The Rangers, you just don't know. And it's a mystery every night.
Yep.
Yeah, like they'll give you a game of the year type effort one night, and then they'll look like the game against the Flames, they looked really good, and then they give you a snooze fest and a messy game against the Canucks the next effort. Doesn't make any sense how you don't build off of that and you bring it the next night. It just doesn't make sense at all.
Makes me question what the message in the locker room is, after a game like that. What does Gallant actually say? He's gotta be like, come on, let's keep this going, ride the momentum here and let's put a few wins together. But I don't know if he even says anything because it just looks like, they play one great game and then the next game they're just a completely different team. I don't know.
Great trade on Tarasenko. Devils trade for Meyer, yeah. Devils need someone for Trouba, someone like a Janot. Yeah, Janot would be an annoying ad for the Devils for the Rangers to have to deal with come playoff time.
The Rangers.
Yeah, that would be another name. They scratched Kravtsov tonight, which was dumb. Yeah.
We saw.
That just confirms, like I said, Gallant has his favorites. Period. End of story. And it's like bad. Like Kravtsov, like I don't even think played like that bad like last night. I mean, you could disagree, but I didn't think he played that bad of a game last night. I thought he was all right. And now you just scratch him for what reason? He hasn't shown enough. Like, bro, that makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Gallant has no system, no identity. He put out a fourth line of Kravtsov decision and Blay once. What is that? Yeah.
I mean, the only identity you could say probably, if anything, is that we're physical, but that's not the identity that we're necessarily looking for. But yeah, I pretty much agree with this comment. Otherwise, it's sad.
The Rangers very not the same as last year. I disagree with that too. I think, well, to an extent, I think last year there were better efforts. But at the same time, Igor also definitely masked a lot of flaws with the team last year, where this year, now that he's having a down year a bit,
We're getting exposed.
You're seeing the flaws more.
Maybe if Igor wasn't as good as he was last year, the year before, like last year, and he had that 916 save percentage like he does now, maybe,
this is the same result.
This is the same result. We're having the same conversation as we are now, but the only difference with the fans is we're not panicking because this is the first year of contending. Now this is the second year of contending, and we're panicking, and we're wondering what the hell happened. Well, there's your answer. That's one of the bigger reasons. Igor is not Igor, but you can't blame it all on him because he can't, like I said earlier on, he can't sustain that 930 plus save percentage every year, which is very tough. But he's got to get help in front of him, specifically on defense. And they just got to play full 60.
Think Kravtsov is here past the deadline? No
chance.
He shouldn't be.
That again for sure.
If he is, you're wasting his time. You're wasting your own time.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw a tweet from Larry Bucks say like he was only in the lineup just to showcase him as a player. I think you saw that too, right? So I don't know. But if anything, Gallant should just be putting him more out there to really showcase him. So, you get teams interested, but
yeah, and he's not bad at all. Like, I don't understand at all.
He's actually hurting our return, if anything. So
we're gonna get fleeced in that trade.
Oh, we will, and that's part of it is Gallant just not playing him.
If you mean like how was it to actually watch them go on a deep run? As stressful as it was at times, it was fun to actually watch them back in the playoffs and go on a run again. Even if there were questions along the way, even if there's, along the way of hearing about playing backup goalies and everything, even with all of that, I mean, it was still nice to watch them back in the playoffs. But this year, it's probably going to be different. You're not going to face a Louis Domingue in the playoffs. So they got to be prepared.
Yeah. Last year, the whole playoffs, it was fun. Middle of summer or late spring going into summer, playoff hockey. It's great. But it was definitely a little bit different with, like Evan said, with hearing all the injuries and Carolina not being able to win on the road. But this year is definitely going to be a little bit different. I can already feel it. And that's going to be a reality check for this whole franchise that, hey, like you need to be a little bit better some way. And I think changes will come along with that. But hey, I hope we beat the Devils. I hope we go on another run. But if we continue to play like this and we don't see any signs of, like with us playing, quality hockey, like it could be honestly just a quick run, and it could be as quick as first round, or we lose in round 2 if we face Carolina.
Yeah, definitely fun, but stressful, and I'm afraid it won't go as long this year.
Yeah, and there's a lot more competition, I feel like, this year. I feel like last year it was a little bit more open.
Yeah, last year I was surprised we even made it that far, period.
There was more of an opening to get there. I feel like this year, like the Bruins are on a whole different level. Carolina's on another level this year as well.
Like, you have to
New
go through
Jersey
the
in the mix.
Devils, Hurricanes, and Bruins, basically.
And Carolina's going to come back with a vengeance if we ever face them. They're going to come back with a vengeance. No more they can't win on the road BS. Like, they're going to come back. They're going to make sure they get it right if they play against us. But I think they're just going to get it right, period, no matter who they play. They might be playing a wild card team, whether that's Capitals or Penguins. They're going to make sure they get it right, and they're going to put the series to rest quickly. And and if we wind up facing them, then they're going to come back at us hard, no doubt. And with Jersey, that can honestly be a 50-50 toss-up because, they play the same kind of style of hockey, but probably still give the edge to Carolina just because, I think they may be a bit of a deeper team and
they're more experienced.
Yeah. But I'd rather see that series play out instead of the Rangers and Hurricanes because there's definitely some unfinished business between the two, at least in the Hurricanes' eyes. So we'll see.
As a Ranger fan, can't agree with that. I'd rather see that, but I know what you mean for like an entertainment standpoint. Then for the NHL, I think the better series, is probably Devils Canes. But if you mean for us as fans, I definitely want the Rangers obviously to make the second round. But I wonder what happens in Carolina if they get bounced in round 2 again. I really wonder what happens.
Yeah, there's going to be some sort of shake-up. I don't know how they haven't gotten to the Cup in like the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, they made the conference final, I'm pretty sure, in 2019, right?
Yeah, 4 or 5 years.
So it's there, but they just gotta. It's kind of like the Capitals, they can't get over the second round. Can't get over the second round. They score a big overtime winning goal, and you just felt like they finally got over that hump, and this was it. They're on the fast track to the Cup. Maybe a situation like that, honestly. Who knows? We'll see. It also depends who they get at the deadline, but it's definitely going to be interesting.
As a fan, I used to only get excited for Jack Hughes to watch games. Now we have a legit core. Nemec, Hughes, and maybe even Meyer coming. Simply ridiculous. Yeah, that's what happens when you rebuild the right way. You get rewarded.
Well, Devils take their time with the rebuild. They didn't jump the gun with getting a big free agent talent in Panarin or a guy like that. It's hard not to sign Panarin. In the Rangers' defense, it is hard not to sign a guy like that, especially when he says, "I want to come to New York. I want to come to New York." And it's hard not to hold back, but they went for it. And honestly, I blame it on the Rangers too a little bit too, because if you knew he wanted to come here, you didn't have to pay him that much money. You could have gave him maybe closer to $9 million, if anything.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's a very good point.
You have him there. He wants to come. He's willing to come. Yeah.
The problem is he used the Islanders as leverage towards the end.
But if you actually had the most, if you had the utmost confidence that he wanted to come to the Rangers, and there were reports year prior that he wanted to come. If you knew that for a fact, you should have just stood your ground, stay hard, and just be like, yeah, this is our price tag. Take it or leave it.
The Trouba thing's obviously worse because you bet on yourself with an RFA.
Oh yeah, that was a bad deal. Yeah, you definitely bet on yourself there, big time.
Or you bet it with yourself, I should say, on an RFA, not bet.
Yeah. But in a way, bet, because you expect him to be like this big, one of the top defenders in the league.
That's true.
A point total, and you thought maybe a good defensively he'd be good just because at the time he was like 24, 25 years old. Now it's kind of the same, if not anything. He got a little bit worse.
Hopefully Vanacek doesn't turn into a pumpkin. Never know with goalies. Well, for the Rangers' sake, I hope he does. But Carolina gets Ryan O'Reilly or Henrique. I think they win the Cup. I think they're going to get Ryan O'Reilly. That's still my prediction.
O'Reilly would be a great pickup. I think if they get Ryan O'Reilly, they're definitely bound to make a deep run. Great.
I think Meyer's a good fit there too in Carolina.
Yeah.
If you get someone big.
I pray Vegas just swoops in and saves the day.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know how they could do it, but with Stone on LTIR, may freaking go
Stone's
for
in the
it.
deal. Forget it. They'll move him gladly. New Jersey could be discussing come playoff time. Luke Hughes coming as well, not just potentially Meyer and the return of Jack Hughes. I still question Jack Hughes come playoff time. What type of player he's going to be, considering there's things that he does out there that just he probably won't be able to do when the game's a bit tighter come playoff time. So it's no disrespect on him, but it's just the reality of the situation that
especially if he plays, if the Devils run into a team, honestly, even like Carolina, but because they definitely have bigger guys on that team than Jersey does. And when a bigger team sees you got a smaller team, they're definitely going to bull you around. There's no question. But if you go up against Boston, hypothetically, that'll be an example of a team that's been there, done that, playoff hockey, type experience. They're just
if they play Boston,
they're not only gonna outclass you in skill, but they're gonna bully you around big time. Kind of like the Kings back in the day. Like, they play that hard-nosed defense and they're just pesky and they would grind you down to your bones, so that's why they were so hard to play against. But yeah, Boston, pretty much a team like that. They're just going to grind you out, especially in the playoffs. But Carolina, honestly, is the same way. They got Brent Burns in the back end. They got a couple other. Jacob Slavin's a big guy as well. They go. I don't think. How big is Sebastian Aho? He's not like.
I want to say he's like 6 feet flat, something like that.
If the Devils could just add some beef and size, it definitely helped them without a doubt. But the only reason, you could say the Rangers have size too, Trouba, Lindgren, but it's fact of the matter is we still don't play good defensively. Great, we have the players, but if we're not going to play the way we should, it doesn't even matter.
I think the reason you're saying this is just because of the rivalry. I really think that that's what it is.
I wouldn't if I was a Devils fan, at least. I don't know how I'd feel, but there's no way you could be more scared of the Rangers than Carolina.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Depends on how Carolina loses. Aho and Svech didn't do shit in round 2 last year. If that happens again, then yikes. That's true too. Yeah. They need this. Their big time players need to actually step up this year.
Yep.
Leafs remind me of those Caps teams. Which ones are you referring to? To be fair, you guys got Kakko, and he's been different than we all thought Kakko would be. Kakko, Panarin, Trouba, Fox, in theory, with Chelsea's advantage, is incredible. I don't blame them much. I don't know what you're referring to with this either, to be honest with you. Vegas can't compete with New Jersey and Carolina's offers. It's Vegas, though. It's Vegas. They'll find a way.
They gotta find a goalie first of all. Vegas needs a goalie. Start there with them, and then you can figure out everything else. But Vegas needs to.
The 2019 offseason. Ugh, that 2019 offseason, yeah. What we thought. This is an interesting take. I think playoff Hughes, not that part. Carolina has neutralized Hughes, and to be honest, I'd rather play Boston round 2 if we beat the Rangers. That's a take. That's a take.
No, that's not just a take. That's a take and a half. Wow. I don't know.
That's a spicy one. Wow.
I
don't know about that one.
Oh, well, if Boston and Carolina play,
if anything,
Carolina.
I'd rather play Carolina just because they haven't passed round 2 in a couple of years, But Boston, they're just especially the way they're playing right now, they're capable.
And the way Linus Ullmark is playing too.
Yeah, your best bet, if anything, your best bet is against Freddie Anderson
or Peter Kochetkov or Antti Ranta, whoever. They don't even know who their starting goalie is come playoff time, probably.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hold on for a second. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
All right. Needing to win one round to go all the way. I think the Leafs win one round and they'll go super far. Leafs. Oh, okay. I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. I don't think that the Leafs, like, I don't think they're going to beat Tampa again this year. I don't know if, and then they have to play Boston. I don't know if they're going to go far if they win a round. But hey, I mean, if they prove me wrong, they prove me wrong. But I don't know about that, to be honest with you. Laugh for MVP in the chat.
What I miss?
So MSG Volt said he thinks that the Leafs could be like the Caps, meaning that the Leafs could go all the way if they win a round. I don't think they're beating Boston at all.
I think, no, I don't. I think the Leafs are one of those teams that just get a little overhyped, just because they're in a big market and they got Matthews, they got Nylander, they got Marner. I mean, technically they kind of should be dominating, but the reality is they're not. And yeah, I think they're just one of those overhyped teams, just because people just like to for whatever reason like to wagon that team, no matter how good or bad they are.
Boston has had trouble neutralizing Hughes, and we've gotten completely dominated by Carolina in each game we've played this year. I know regular season is different, but it's just the feel.
Well, I'll say this: we swept Tampa Bay in the regular season, and we lost
Carolina.
No, I'm saying no. I know. No, but he's saying that they dominated Boston. But what I'm saying is last year we pretty much dominated Tampa Bay. We swept them in the regular season, and we lose in 6 games to Tampa Bay, in a gentleman's sweep in a way. We were up 2-0. They lost 4 straight. So yeah, definitely regular season is definitely different. But come playoff time, I would be scared to play a team like the Bruins, especially the way they're built and the kind of experience that they have to offer and the way they're playing now with Solmark. I don't know. And Freddie Anderson, for whatever reason, like Evan has said in the past, isn't great in the playoffs. That's why I'd still would rather play the Hurricanes. But at the same time, the Hurricanes can honestly, depending on who they get, the deadline can make a run to the cup.
I don't think that Barbashev's on the table anymore, unfortunately. Would like for them to be able to still get Barbashev, but I think that's I think that one's over.
We have his brother, at least.
Yeah, that's true. If they did win a round, they would all die from heart attacks. That would be their Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Who's he referring to? The Devils?
Leaf fans.
Oh, Leaf fans. Yeah.
I think it also has to do with the Devils playing with house money. If they lose to Boston or Carolina, it's fine. Even losing to the Rangers, it would suck, but that would be understandable due to timelines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. The Devils are playing with house money this year. They don't have any pressure or expectations to do anything. They're just going to go into it and do what they need to do and handle business.
It was kind of like us last year, right?
Yeah, it is like us.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
And that could honestly be a factor to why they may potentially make a run, because, teams with not playing with any expectations usually are the teams that are one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs, just because they're playing free out there, no pressure. Whatever happens. You have nothing to lose. You're playing like you have nothing to lose. So that's could be a reason why the Devils could make a run, and why they could be one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah, no pressure equals extra motivation. That's true.
Definitely does. Yeah. Good point.
It's just annoying. Like last year, I was so excited for the playoffs. This year, it's just like right now, I'm more excited than I was, on Wednesday night with the Tarasenkshow acquisition, but still,
I
would like to
I
see
don't know
them.
what to expect. I feel like this is reminding me a lot of like 2016. Like the season just goes by in a blink of an eye. We're already at the deadline. The opening night felt like yesterday, and the playoffs are coming up quickly. It just, I don't know. It's just, I just don't know. It's
Yeah, this season
scary.
has gone way too quick.
Yeah, and that's not to me, at least from my experience, that is not a good sign.
Yeah, last year felt a lot.
Well, I mean, we
slower.
also had that 2 week break, but even then, in past seasons, like even the rebuilding seasons, like definitely felt a lot longer. Even the last time we made the playoffs before last year, set in 17, it felt a lot longer too.
The rebuilding seasons were awful.
They were great only in terms of going to games because tickets were in.
2021 was the worst, is what I mean.
Oh, COVID?
That was the worst season.
Yeah, that's true. Somehow the 18-19 season was more entertaining. Actually, at the start, we were first place. I don't know if you remember. We were in first place for a couple weeks, and we were actually playing well. I thought like we were going to turn things around. It was going to actually work out, and sure enough, we just went down the drain right after.
Yeah. And then that 2021 season was a nightmare all around.
It was Jover after Tom Wilson. It was Jover.
It was Jover before that. It was Jover when Tony D'Angelo and Georgiev had that situation.
That
That's when it was Jover.
was some season.
I say just get Mott and call it a deadline. I'd like Mott back, but they need to add another middle six guy too. You can't trot Jimmy VC out there. You can't do it.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely would like Mott back for on and off the ice reasons. And definitely need to fill that bottom six, no doubt. Round 2, baby. Here we come.
Cock over.
Tarasenkshow over.
Yar over.
You're over.
Trover.
Egg over.
On this team.
Meek over.
It's not a bad one.
I like that one. Cock over. I didn't even realize. That was a good one.
If they had more cap space, Puljujärvi would make a ton of sense for the Rangers. I don't know about that one. I'm not a fan of Jesse Pool Party, personally.
I think he's a bust.
Yeah, I think that if you wanted another team to experiment with him, that was years ago. It's already 2023. There's no point in experimenting with Puljujärvi anymore.
I remember we were in the mix to get him maybe for like Leah Sanderson at one point.
See, like that would have made sense then, but now it doesn't make sense anymore.
Dude, whatever happened to like Ryan Spooner?
Went overseas, right?
Need him back. I feel like he got screwed just because he played for the Rangers and then he just was underwhelming. I mean, it wasn't bad in the beginning, but I feel like playing for the Rangers, if he just stood on Boston, I feel like he'd be playing right now, or his career in the NHL would last longer.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's a thought. I think it's possible. Because Boston made the Cup the next year, and he would have been part of that. Who knows?
It avoids Gaudreau being in the top 9. Sure, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm all for Puljujärvi. I don't know if I'm about that. But we're probably going to wrap things up now. We've been going for well over an hour, so and there's not much really to talk about. So hopefully the Rangers could go into Carolina, pick up the 2 points tonight. And will it be a good win? Will it be an ugly win? Who knows? We'll find out. But stay tuned for the reaction video after the game, and I'll be sure to either rant, go crazy about them winning, criticize them for winning in a bad way. You guys will know how it will go. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and we will see you guys in the next episode.